What's up, guys? So we're here with Damon Chief Jones and News Now Houston. It's May 27th of 2019. It's 7:46 p.m.
Yep, that's a fact.
So Damon, do you recall when Nomad was calling you and texting you in the past about pretty much asking for donations for the homeless to get those sleeping bags?
Yes, and I sent them like 3 different times.
How much?
Thinking it was for sleeping bags.
Yeah.
He told me people's lives was in jeopardy and they was going to die if I didn't come up with the money for these sleeping bags.
So did he ever show you receipts or video or anything?
No.
Okay. So what all do you know? Did he give you any information on the rehab? Because from what I understand, he didn't even go to rehab, but he was telling everyone that he was raising money because he wanted to go to rehabilitation.
Well, I sent some money to help, and a doctor sent some money to help him. Actually, the doctor loaned him some money. He never paid the doctor back even when he got the money 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. He never paid him back. And he never paid me back.
So, Damon, I don't know if you know this, but Nomad never even went to rehab. Are you aware of that?
I have become aware after the fact that he took donation money to go and took donation money for the other and spent it on drugs.
Yeah, because that's what I'm aware of, because I remember you telling me about a week ago that you had a good friend of yours who donated some money for rehab, and he never even went.
No, it was a loan.
Oh, he loaned the money and he never went.
Yeah, and he's never paid him back, even though he's had like $2,000 or more since then, and he could have paid back.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me that your buddy messaged Nomad and said, "Hey, do you think you can pay me back this loan?" And Nomad replied with, "F you."
Well, I know that the doctor is an understanding, compassionate man, and he was trying to allow for more time, but he basically has understood he fell off the wagon, and he could pretty well kiss the money goodbye, because being a drug addict, he has to keep money coming in every day, however he can get it.
Well, and that's the thing, Damon. I called you. Do you remember when I went up to Seattle and picked up Nomad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You called about every hour or two. Yeah. I remember.
I was excited. Nomad was excited. And at this time, I knew about his faults. I knew about, what he was going through in the past. But I wasn't aware that he still had a drug addiction and was still using. Well, the thing of it is when I picked him up, I wasn't aware of anything he was doing or any kind of drugs he was taking. But throughout those few days and weeks, I was calling you and explaining to you what was going on, what we were going through, and how he was acting real funny, and he was real shady acting, and he was acting like he was going through withdrawals.
Well, I remember two times you told me something that really freaked me out. You said he's got a bag full of narcotics. They're supposed to be prescribed enough for somebody that's 80 years old.
Yes.
Every kind of medicine you can imagine. But he was abused them, taking large quantities and then mixing it with other things. And my God, I remember you was freaked out. You thought he was going to stab you or something. He was going to have a psychotic break and go off, and you was scared.
Well,
you said, "Come out."
Well, and that's the thing, Damon. I had to tell you this because, for a little bit, it felt and it seemed like Nomad was off his rocker, because he was always talking about, how he was telling me he was taking 15 pills a day. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's 29 years old. Why does he have a bag full of medicine and a backpack full of medicine, at this age? And he doesn't have diabetes. He doesn't have any health issues. He abuses prescription medication under the pretenses of, I'm prescribed, But then when he quits taking them, he gets very violent and real aggressive. And that's why I was calling you, Damon, to explain to you, because I don't understand why he's acting that way. But then I found out he's a addiction with Suboxone and heroin.
Right. And you know, me and other qualified individuals who tried to counsel with him, and he just lied to us and lied to us and lied to us. And, you know, we kept trying to hang in there with him. I guess, you know.
Well, we tried to help him
with a bunch of dirty needles.
Well, and that's the thing. We tried to help him, Damon. Yeah, definitely. We tried to help Nomad as much as we could. You know, we went to Seattle to get him. And I told Nomad, I said, hey, we'll pay for your hotels and your gas and your food for a whole month. But once you start getting paid by YouTube, you know, you got to pull your own weight and pay for your own food. And he agreed.
Yeah, that's cool. That's right.
Yeah, and he agreed to do that. And within that time, he was doing real shady things, acting shady. You know, he was locking himself in the hotel bathroom for hours on end, and me and Selena didn't know what he was doing. But now that we know that he has this heroin addiction, and we found the heroin needles that he left in my trunk when he went to the airport, we know now what he was doing then.
Right.
He has a problem, and we've tried to help him. And when he figured out that me and Selena we weren't gonna carry him anymore and pay for him, he moved and latched on to Granite State, and now he's moved in with Granite State. They've never met.
He flew the coop.
Yeah, he flew the coop. He never met Granite State, never met her in person. They never talked. He just moved in with the woman. And of course,
see, here's the thing: the people that donate money need to know you've used it right. I've used it right. David has used it right. Nomad was living off of donations, some of which he was getting, and you was giving him some money for food. But instead of food, he run and got a fix, and you didn't know it till after the fact.
Well, and that's one thing I want to touch on, guys. You know, when you see us out there, David, myself, Damon, we use donations properly, okay? Nomad has not only told me several times that he's had an addiction, but he has an addiction. So if you donate to him, he has told me he can't stop himself. If he's got some money, he's gonna get it, and that's what he's told me. So, you know.
Well, so what is he gonna do? What's he gonna do now? He's up there with Granite State. He's gonna have to be sneaking that, and now that if she sees this video, she's gonna be watching. I mean, and I think she's got some kids. I mean, she can't be having somebody around her kids if they're doing drugs.
Well, and here's
the state will come take them.
Yeah, here's the other thing I want to say, David. Nomad he's got 2 or 3 baby mamas, and he's got about 3 or 4 kids. His ex-girlfriend left him and kicked him out of the house as well, same as I did. And it was all because of the addiction. So it wouldn't surprise me if Granite finds out about this addiction and she does the same.
Yeah, you know, I look, he used me and he abused me just like you and some other people, okay? Now me, I got a pretty thick skin, but I said nasty things about you and all you did was help him. In other words, the hand that fed him and helped to try and lift him up and try and help him to do good, he stabbed everybody in the back. So I can't have no loyalty to that. I mean, I'm done. I'm just done with him.
Well, you know, people donate, and you know, and we support people in the community because we're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing the right thing, you know, God loves us for what we've done. But they'll get their own for what they've done.
Yeah. Well, people make fun of me, but Jesus says what goes around comes around. It's a circle.
Yep.
Yeah, well...
God will take care of him. I'm not worried. God will take care of him in his own way, in his own time. But people ought to know the truth. So they don't... Some family barely getting by, and he's over there begging, and they send him $30 or $40, and they got to tighten up on their meals. And then he's out there doing drugs. They need to know that.
Well, the thing of it is not, and I'm glad you said that, Damon, and that's why we're making this video, to make the public aware of what's going on, what he's doing, because he's in denial, okay? He's living in a fantasy world by living with Granite State. not paying his own bills, living off other people, and things like that. And the thing of it is, Damon, and I wanted to tell you this for a long time, when we were over there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I was upset with Nomad, and that was when I was on the phone with you. I asked him several times, I said, hey, when Damon donated all that money to you to go help the homeless to get sleeping bags, what did you do with that money? And he told me, he said, you know what, I bought drugs. He admitted to me that he bought drugs and he didn't buy sleeping bags. So your money went to his addiction.
We had a connection. We had a connection up that way for somebody that worked for Academy that could get sleeping bags dirt cheap. I mean, like dirt cheap. And when we were going to buy them and send them to Nomad and have him, you know, be able to pass them out and stuff. And he didn't want that. He wanted money.
Exactly.
Cash.
Exactly. He didn't want someone to send him or mail him the sleeping bags. He wanted you to send him the money so he could go get the sleeping bags. It wasn't about sleeping bags or helping the homeless. It was about getting the money so he can buy the heroin.
So he's actually committed interstate fraud. He took donations for one thing when it was for drugs, so he's committed criminal acts. You know, I mean.
Well, I'm wondering how, you know, I'm concerned about Granite. You know, you know, like I said, she's got kids and stuff, and if he's doing that kind of stuff and he's around kids, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's endangerment of children.
Well, from what?
I mean, and Child Protective Services come in and get her kids for that.
Oh yeah, they will. And David,
I hope she's watching him real close.
Well, of course, her kids will get taken away if there's heroin, needles, and any kind of drugs in the house. And the thing of it is, David, you know, Nomad has shown me pictures on his phone of where Granite State's doing drugs and sending pictures to Nomad while she's at the house. So she's getting high at the house and showing Nomad, hey, look at this this marijuana edibles or this marijuana I'm smoking, and then sends it to Nomad.
Wow.
So.
Oh, go. Let's get together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They're empowering and enabling each other.
Of course.
To do bad.
Of course.
Well, that puts the children in danger. The children are now in danger.
Of course.
So the police are probably going to go to her house now.
And, you know, David, you know, we've all seen all the pictures. You know, David told me earlier that Nomad was saying a bunch of things in Discord, talking bad about me, posting naked pictures of Selena. When about was that, David?
It was a couple of days ago. Somebody sent it over to me. You know, pictures. I guess he just like took them when Selena wasn't looking or whatever. But yeah, he got some less than clothed pictures of Selena.
So yeah, so not only is he's a weirdo, but he's also a creep. He's
a sex freak.
Yeah, exactly. So he's snapping pictures of Selena in the hotel room when she's not looking. That's kind of weird, don't you think?
I think that borders on being a sexual predator of some sort. And I mean, if he's putting it out there, I mean, my God, who did they think's taking the damn pictures? Come on.
Exactly. And it wasn't me.
Right.
So,
I mean, in other words, common sense would say if it had been you, would have way back then to generate some publicity. You wouldn't be kind of, you know, like a little rock star on YouTube and then destroy it or do this. It's not your way.
So one thing I want to touch on, guys, is, you know, when Nomad was living with me, not at any point did we ever get in any fights. I mean, we had arguments, you know, we had disagreements because all I wanted to do was help Nomad, but he just could not let the drugs go. I told him several times, I said, hey, prescription drugs or not, you know, you're abusing these drugs because you like to get high. And he said, I'm prescribed, I have to take this much. You know, any doctor can tell you, and any rational person can tell you, it's not normal when you got a handful of pills and you're sitting here popping them every day. That's not normal.
Well, are you sure he doesn't have like some kind of disease or something that he takes them for? I mean, like, and I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying, for instance, you know, people with AIDS have like huge packages of pills that they have to take.
And that's the thing I want to touch on, David. I actually found 2 pill bottles that he left in the trunk with those needles. I know for a fact he's on Suboxone. He's on Suboxone it's basically an opioid, like a drug that helps you get off. Yeah, it helps you get off heroin, but it's still an opioid, and people still abuse it. And I found 2 other pill bottles in his bag he left in my trunk with the needles, and me and Selena were looking them up, and I think they were for like some kind of HIV or AIDS medication. And I asked Nomad several times, I said, hey, look, if you're going to be living with me and Selena and you got HIV or AIDS, you know, that's something you tell somebody. You don't live with someone and don't tell them. You know what I'm saying? If you got that, you tell somebody. So,
yeah, what if you got one of them needles and got infected? I mean, that's a death sentence.
Well, and here's another thing. I asked him several times. He would not accept it nor deny it. I said, Nomad, do you have HIV or AIDS? Because he's known to shoot up, and he's told me he shot up a lot with old needles, used needles, and he said he won't answer the question. And he has medication that's used for HIV and AIDS, so, you know, if he has that medication in the bottles, I'm thinking he's got HIV or AIDS. And I'm sure Granite doesn't know.
But here's the thing. You know, like they talk about good cops saying good cops because they're not out and bad cops. Well, there are good cops that out bad cops every day. But we're trying to be good auditors and putting out bad auditors and putting information out on bad auditors so that the community is good and clean and purged of trash and filth.
Well, the whole thing of it is Nomad is on the dark side now. Merb has won him over. He's in the Discord every night. He's a Merbite now, okay? He's now with the trolls. He's now like OG2. He's now like Wolfman, Texas Wolfman. You know, he's a failed auditor, okay? When he doesn't get his way in his channel, he tried to use me to get his channel going. He's tried using several people to do that, and he's told me, he's like, you know, man, my channel ain't picking up. Well, you know, you have to have content and good content for that to happen. And, you know, now he's on the troll side because his channel isn't working out. He's with the Merbites.
And he called me and asked me for a favor. And I thought I knew what it was, but I figured out later for sure that it was correct. The video I had, Nomad dead or alive, you know, he was in a hospital bed, hooked up to all kind of stuff because he was on like critical condition from OD. He didn't want my dead or alive video out there because it was hurting his donations. It was hurting his channel because the truth was coming out. So I removed it at his request, trying to help him, thinking maybe he would come along, maybe he would go straight. And, you know, so, I can't help him no more.
And Damon, I agree with you on that because he asked me several times. He said, hey, you need to call Damon and tell Damon to remove the video, is Nomad dead or alive? And I asked him, I said, why? You know, that's an old video. Why do you want it removed? Well, he doesn't want his newer viewers to know that he was hooked up to a hospital bed because he shot too much heroin and almost died. So
yeah, he was on life support.
Basically, he doesn't want people to know that because then people won't donate because they think that he's going to go get heroin, and if nobody knows about that, then they'll donate to him.
Yeah. Get your fix by hook or crook. I mean, that's just drug addicts' mottos, you know.
Well, he's either
but
got...
we tried to get him help.
Yeah, we tried helping him.
For him to get help, and he refused.
Damon, tell me what you think on this. He's told me a story that's actually very disturbing in my eyes. He told me one time that, you know, his dad's a drug addict. They're both drug addicts, sadly to say. So it doesn't really help when your dad's a drug addict because then the drugs are readily available. He told me a story one day when he was at his dad's house. Him and his dad, they were getting high, shooting heroin, doing methamphetamines and all kinds of crazy shit. He said there was some woman over there. She was some crack whore, as you would call it. You know, she was in her mid-50s and Nomad was in his mid-20s. And he said that they were both shooting heroin together. And he ends up, you know, having sex with this woman that's in her mid-50s. And, you know, he said he don't know if she's got AIDS or HIV, and that while they were having sex, she was trying to stuck a used needle in his arm, and it broke off in his arm and bent in half. So he said he's not for sure if he's got anything or not. And I said, man, I wouldn't be surprised if you got hepatitis from that needle, you know?
Yeah, hepatitis is big, and if you get AIDS and hepatitis, it speeds up the clock for the death spiral.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, I only wanted to help Nomad, and I cared about Nomad, and I said, look, you know, I'm going to help you out for a month until you start getting paid, and then you got to pull your own weight. But, you know, it seems
that's
like...
being a man.
Yeah,
that's
you know,
being a man.
And it seemed like when Nomad was in Seattle, he had so much auditing opportunity. There was so much there, and he never went out and audited. I wonder why. And it seems like he doesn't have the motivation. He just wants to sit around and get high all day. You know, when I went and got him, then he would start auditing.
Yeah.
He wasn't auditing in Seattle.
Well, he said one time, words to the effect of, that he had been out and done some audits, but it didn't play well for YouTube, so he didn't load them up. So I don't know if the police owned him or what, but he just didn't put them on.
Yeah.
You know, either way, it just, you know, I'm not trying to stab him in the back. I'm trying to tell it how he is. He's been lying, cheating, stealing, taking pictures of your basic wife, for lack of a better word. You know, he's turned into a pervert drug addict.
Well, and we've done nothing but help him. You know, Damon sent him money in good faith to help the homeless, and he took that money and bought heroin. You know, and that's not right.
And some of those funds come from my church because the people agreed we'd send some money. And then he kept begging for more and more, and he kept dropping the dollar amount. And I said, what do you, if that costs a certain amount, how can you keep dropping the amount?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a better deal. And then we just had to cut him off. I mean, I did some personal, and then the church did some.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, there was a time, it was about 3 weeks ago, Nomad was in the back seat, and like most auditors do, they call their friends up. You know, sometimes I'll call Damon, sometimes I'll call David. You know, I'll say, hey, I'm here at this location doing an audit here, just so you know, for my own safety. And, you know, I kind of got feelings from the get-go that Nomad was a troll and with the Murbites, because he said, oh, you know, why do you got to call Earl the rapist? And I said, dude, he's not a rapist, okay? He's got false allegations against him, none of them of which are true, you know. And guys, we're gonna come out and show you that you know, look, this guy's innocent. You just have to wait for it. But the thing of it is, you know, he's made comments about Earl. He's made comments about Damon. He says Damon, you know, D-Cup Jones. He makes fun of Damon. He calls Earl bad names. He calls him Earl.
Well, you know, people do stuff like that when they don't feel good about themselves. They have no self-worth and feel bad about themselves, so they have to attack and talk bad about other people to make themselves feel better about themselves. That's very common.
Well, you know, I'm not trying to put Patrick in no bad light by no means. So listen good to what I'm saying. I did get hurt in an accident. So that was retarding the timeline for him and Selena and Nomad to come here. Of course, I can't say I was real sad about it because I had a lot of bad feelings about Nomad. And I'd even asked Patrick, is Nomad still coming? Because that worried me. Because I had just about come to the final conclusion that he was a full-on drug addict. And I said, you know, what if he's got bad drugs or whatever and get pulled over? Then we all go to jail and there's a felony charge and, you know, kaboom.
Well, and that's the thing. Nomad is real flighty. He's really sketchy acting. And I'll say this. You know, I would never condone the transportation of any kind of drugs. And this is the thing. You know, while we went up to Seattle and Oregon and Washington and Nevada, I told Nomad, I said, look, it's a legal state. I don't mind if you smoke because it's legal in those states. I said, but when we go home and we're in states where it's not legal, you have to throw the marijuana away or smoke it. Not only did he lie to me, he lied to my face, he lied to Selena, and he jeopardized my freedom because he had a whole bunch of marijuana in his backpack, and I asked him, I said, Nomad, is it all gone? Did you throw it away? He said, I don't have any more. It's all gone. When we got home, he pulls out a bunch of marijuana in his backpack, and I'm pissed off because he jeopardized my freedom because I said, look, when we get into states where it's not legal, you have to throw it away. And he didn't listen.
Dude, I'd have put him on a bus home right then.
Yeah.
I do not tolerate that at all. You know, you want to do that stuff, that's your business. I got no problem with it. What you do with your life is your business. But you don't bring that stuff into my vehicle where I'm at. You can ask anybody that's ever worked with me if we're using my vehicle for transportation. The first thing I tell them is no illegal drugs, nothing illegal goes into the vehicle. You got something illegal on you, you store it in your car, you can get it when you get home.
Yeah, and I remember you asking me, you said, hey, you got any weed on you, like years ago when I first met you. And I'm the same way. I said, Nomad, I don't mind if you have it, but, you know, when we get in these states where it's illegal, you got to dump it out. He's such an addict on drugs, he couldn't do it. He could not do it. He just kept it and jeopardized my freedom.
Well, you really wanted him to come clean so bad. I mean, so bad. You talked to him and called him. You know, I ain't trying to put you out there nothing, but you said, hey, you and your church and everybody be praying for him and praying for me and Selena.
Yeah, I did.
To help him, okay? And you knew it wasn't 100%, but you thought he had made great strides, to say the least. And I'll be honest, I thought she was going to have a full-blown psychotic meltdown, you know, with some of the things he was doing when you called me on the phone. And I literally was that close to calling the sheriff's office where he was at and send him out there because I was scared he might kill you.
Well, that's the thing. Nomad was scaring me to death. He was making me fear for my safety because we would be driving down the highway and he would be in the back seat, you know, taking a bunch of Suboxone, getting high, and taking a bunch of pills. And
that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I called you and I told you about it because I'm worried, you know, that he's either going to kill himself or kill somebody else because he's sitting over here slurring his words like, you know, he's like, I ain't high, but he's really high. He's really fucked up. And he was like that for 2 weeks straight. He was getting high all day long. And when he ran out of Suboxone and he ran out of drugs, he was in a panic. He was like, oh my God, I got to get my pills. I'm going to die. I need my meds. But we all know it's just the addiction kicking in. You know, he was panicking. He was calling his mom. He was calling his dad. Hey, send me some money so I can get a refill. But then he found out in Oklahoma, you can't get a refill of Suboxone from his Washington prescription. So he was really, really going crazy because he didn't have his high. He didn't have his fix.
Yeah. And he didn't mean to, but he said something to me, and I figured out what he meant, that he had been doctor shopping. So he's got 2 or 3 sets of doctors. This doctor's given this, but that doctor don't know about these or this. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's crossing state lines in different drug directories or what, but somehow he got 3 or 4 times what a normal man could have.
Yeah, of course. And you know, and here's the thing: when I cut Nomad off, and I said, look, you need to go your own separate way. If you want to move in and use Granite, if she allows it, go ahead and do it. You know, and he went straight to the Discord. He started running his mouth about me, posting pictures about Selena, talking bad about you, David, and you already know Teresa R. You know, the crazy nut lady. She, Nomad, you know, they're best buddies now. Teresa and Nomad, they're best buds. So everyone in the Discord is all for Nomad. They're like, oh, Nomad, come over here. Let's go, Nomad. Come on, Nomad. You know.
It looks like the drug addicts are getting together.
Well, and that's the thing. Teresa R., she's a failed auditor. She tried to use David to grow her channel. It didn't work.
Yep.
You know, Texas Wolfman tried to grow his channel, didn't work. OG2, failed auditor, didn't work. Nomad, failed auditor, didn't work. And now they're just a group of, you know, individuals who are jealous individuals, and they're trying to take us down. That's all it is.
Misery loves company.
Well, it's fortunate that both of you gentlemen are still alive, because y'all had drug addicts around y'all that could have killed you very easily. But thank God they're away from y'all now.
Yeah, and
I'm glad you're alive.
you know, and it's messed up because he didn't tell me, you know, about those needles in the trunk. And I was just blown away that he left some needles. And when I called you, you explained to me, oh, well, he left them because he can't get on the flight because of the needles.
Right. And
Who paid for his flight up to Granite?
Granite State did. She used her credit card and bought Nomad a ticket.
Oh, she didn't learn from the last one that used her and abused her. She got to get a new one in. Oh man,
He's got a
but that puts
sugar
her
mama.
children at risk. But you know, if she is using illegal narcotics or barbiturates herself, then I guess misery likes company, and her children's just in twice as much danger.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad.
Well, you know, no relationship ever works out if you just move in with somebody. He's never met her before. He just moved in with her like that. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that relationships like that really work out.
nah, it won't work. And the other thing is, and I don't know how Granite is. You know, I don't know if she just, you know, recreationally uses whatever she uses, or if she's like, you know, needs it. But one thing I know is that people like, you know, who are addicted to drugs don't like to share their drugs.
Of course.
So, yeah, so it never works when they get into relationships.
Well,
especially if they have somebody else who uses drugs.
Well, Nomad was really going crazy about, because he's like, oh shit, I can get my fix. Let me run over to Granite, you know.
Yeah, that's like a baited field for deer.
You know, it's like a donut on a string, you know. Fuck, come get the donut. You know?
Yeah. I remember that guy at Almost Park he had been a cop, and he got fired because he went straight, and the bad cops at Almost Park, he had that long lineup with the 3 donuts on it, swinging it around, you know.
Yeah. I remember that guy.
Yeah, and he had been a cop there, but he went straight, and so they pushed him out. At least that's his story, you know. I mean, I don't know him.
Yeah. All right, guys, I got to get off of here.